M3GAN is directed by Gerard Johnson, stars Allison Williams and Violet McGraw, and is produced by Blumhouse Studios. Allison Williams plays Gemma, an inventor for a toy company that's working on her next big invention named M3GAN, a toy that's pretty much a sentient robot that becomes best friends with the child that it's paired with. And she decides to test out this new invention of hers on her niece Katie, who she now has to take care of due to her parents passing in a tragic accident. I'll be honest, I was expecting to see this movie and absolutely hate it. I was ready to tear this movie apart. I was ready to have like my first true angry review for you guys, but I left the theater pretty surprised. I'm not saying this movie is great, but it's not terrible either. It's actually a pretty enjoyable movie, surprisingly. Now, like I said, this is produced by Blumhouse, and they are very 50-50 when it comes to quality of their movies. For every Get Out, there's a Truth or Dare. And when it came to seeing M3GAN, I was expecting it to be on the Truth or Dare side. I was expecting to just absolutely rip this movie apart. But like I said, I left the theater pretty surprised. Now, the movie is nowhere near of quality as Get Out, but it's nowhere near as terrible as Truth or Dare. It's kind of in this weird limbo where it's just a good quality movie that has a lot of like really mediocre bad parts, but also some pretty fun, enjoyable parts. Now, one of the main reasons why I was expecting to tear this movie apart was the trailers. The trailers and marketing for this movie was absolutely just terrible. Like, the trailers made it seem like it was going to be a run-of-the-mill horror movie that was ripping up Child's Play. Sure, everyone has seen that meme of M3GAN dancing from the trailers, and yes, that is entertaining. But from the trailers and the footage that we saw, I thought this movie was going to be absolutely garbage. But what the movie doesn't tell you with the marketing is that this movie isn't really a horror movie. M3GAN is a horror comedy. Because there were so many parts in this movie where I was just laughing my ass off. From the very first scene alone, it automatically clicked for me. There's this joke in the beginning of the movie where it made me realize, oh, M3GAN is not supposed to be a horror movie that's copying the killer doll genre like Child's Play, but instead it's trying to parody and embrace the campiness of that kind of genre. And in my opinion, it really works. This movie is a ton of fun when it comes to its comedy. Now, I do have quite a few complaints, and I'll get to those in a minute, but I'm genuinely surprised about how much fun I had watching this movie. And my entire theater had an absolute blast too. We were all just laughing at every joke. Every joke was hit after hit after hit. But I will say that there are parts of the movie that I think were genuinely trying to scare the audience, but instead made the whole audience just bust out laughing. For example, there's this one part in the movie where M3GAN is talking about how she killed someone, and then she just starts singing to Katie. And it's really trying to scare the audience, but the entire theater just busted out laughing, including myself. But I think the movie was genuinely trying to freak out the audience. So I feel like there's this weird dissonance between, trying to scare the audience and trying to make the audience laugh. I feel like there was an unbalance in the writing about what part should have been scary and what part should have been funny. One positive I'll also give the movie is the acting isn't that bad, especially from Violet McGraw. Now, you might recognize her from being in the TV show Haunting of Hill House, and she did a really good job there. And she does another really good job here. She does play a 9-year-old girl who did lose her parents, and she plays this depressing child surprisingly well. Like, her acting is very, very nice. Now, unfortunately, I can't say the rest for Allison Williams, who you might recognize as the girl from Get Out. Now, unfortunately, she does not do that good of a job, but it's definitely more on the script's part. A lot of her dialogue is just complete word salad of just saying a bunch of technology bullcrap, like technology words that clearly aren't real, and you can tell that the actress is trying to make these words sound realistic, but it just completely fails, and it makes the movie just seem even more campy, even though I feel like the movie's trying to make these parts seem realistic. And the other positive I can give the movie are the effects. You can tell that the movie definitely put a lot of time and effort into the practical effects for M3GAN, and they do this balance of using an actress to play M3GAN and an actual animatronic, and it works really well. I'm very pleased with how the effects looked in this movie. Trust me guys, I'm as surprised as y'all that I'm giving this movie so much positive feedback, but I genuinely did enjoy my time with this movie. Now, I do have quite a few negatives, main one being is the story structure and the writing. Like I said, the writing for Gemma is already just complete word salad of words that don't make any sense, and it's just technology mumbo jumbo. But the story structure is my main issue here. Scenes in this movie just kind of happen. We go from like point A to point B to point C to point Q to point G back to point A, and the movie is just all over the place with its story structure. For example, the biggest issue with the story structure is we don't really see why M3GAN turns evil. She just kind of turns evil for kind of no reason. Like, she does harm people to protect Katie, but then she goes out of her way to harm Katie for no reason and harm Gemma for no reason. I feel like there's like 15 minutes of the movie that's missing in the middle where we get a true reason why M3GAN is being evil. But we don't get that, so we just go from like I said, point A to point B to point Q all over the place. But I know that complaint's not really going to affect most of the viewers for this movie. They just want to go in and see a slasher killer movie, and they're going to be pleased. We're going to have a lot of funny jokes, a lot of scary moments, a lot of slasher moments. People that are just going in to see this movie to see a scary movie are going to be pleased. But me having to review this movie and actually critique it, I can't help but notice the major glaring flaw of how the story just kind of doesn't exist. Like I said, the movie has no full structure. And one other thing I don't like about M3GAN is that the ending just completely sucks. It feels unfinished. There's this climactic battle at the end of the movie, and then the credits just roll. And I was just left there wondering, wait, that can't be the ending. There are just so many things that are left unfinished or unresolved. And no, it's not one of those movies where it has to make you think and they left things unresolved on purpose. No, it feels like the movie was just unfinished and they forgot to put like 15 minutes of the movie in at the end. It feels abrupt. And one thing that I feel like audience members might not like about M3GAN is that there aren't that many kills in the movie. There's only, I think, 4? And it's supposed to be a slasher killer doll movie according to the trailers, yet there's barely any kills in the movie. And you can definitely tell that this movie was cut down from an R rating to a PG-13 rating. All the kills are off camera, you don't see anything that happens during the kills, and it feels insanely cheap. I mean, if people are going in to see a killer doll movie, show us the kills. But no, Blumhouse clearly brought this down from an R rating to a PG-13 rating so that way more audience members can go see it, and Blumhouse can make more money. So as a whole, is M3GAN a good movie? Well, kind of, yes and no. If you're just going in to see a killer doll movie, you'll have a fun time, you'll enjoy it. But if you're looking for a smart horror movie, this is not it. This is not the movie for you. This is what I like to call a good time movie. This is a movie that you go out and see with your buddies, have a good time, and then as the days go by, you just forget everything about the movie. You just don't remember anything about it. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's fun to just go out and see a movie just to see a movie. You're not going there for a true cinematic experience. You just want to go have fun at the theaters. And I feel like this movie is a perfect movie to have in January. Not many movies are coming out in theaters. In fact, most movies that do come out in January are just the worst. So for a movie that came out in January, I would say that this one is worth your time. Guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If this is your first time here and you like what you've seen, be sure to subscribe for more content. Now, have you seen M3GAN? What did you think about it? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I hope you have a fantastic night. Take care.